Well, a very good morning on the 17th day of November 23. Look at the beautiful moss on the dike. It's one of my favourite things about looking at dikes is the moss. And we have an abundance of holly berries. Can you see this? And that will give the birds plenty to eat over the winter period. I come out to Tullibardine Chapel. I've been here before, but just come out on spec. Parked up at the top of the drive. But I'm finding it's much easier to, well, parking, as I mentioned before, is so difficult anywhere nowadays. I don't know why. But you always seem to feel that you're blocking someone. And I consider it probably easier to herd, goats and park up than it is to park your vehicle. I've not got the right footwear on, Andy. Why did you put these shoes on? I've got my trainers on and it's very soggy. I think I came out here because I've been chatting a lot, as you probably realise, about Cromwell and Charles I and stuff like this, but this is Tullibardine Chapel. It's a medieval structure. It goes back to pre-Reformation. Unfortunately it's closed. It only opens during the summer months for visitors, but it's an ancient kirk, and I have to say it's fabulous just looking at it from here. So the Earls of Tullibardine, I was talking about the Battle of Tippermuir, which occurred on the 1st of September 1944. 1944, Andrew, get a grip. 1644, let me repeat that. The 1st of September 1644. Tippermuir, of course, is now known as Tivermore and lies directly west of Perth, or Bertha, the miserable city. And there was a huge contingent. I was saying from the vlog from Buckenty Hill, although I used some footage from a previous, that wasn't the 12th of November, me standing in snowy conditions, I have to say. I never made that clear. But I was mentioning about the numbers of troops that gathered up by Buckenty and down towards Fells Wester, and I mentioned about the Murray's Hill. Well, the Murrays of Tullibardine, which were a very prominent family, and I can't go into every section of history because it is very complex and you can't carry all this information about in your head constantly. But if we stick to this particular battle, the Earl of Tullibardine was a Covenanter, and he, I think he supplied about 600 to 800 troops on the day. We had people from Rossi, which is over by Glenavon, towards Glenavon, at Auchterarder there, just over the route. But simply, you've got to imagine that there was loads and loads of troops all marching in the direction of Bertha for this fantastic battle which took place. It's a very important battle, actually. Unfortunately, the Covenanters lost against the Marquis of Montrose. And they were royalists. They were for Charles I, you see. Charles I, born 19th of November 1600, and he was one of the sons of King James the VI of Scotland, and latterly King James the first of England, Scotland and Ireland. And they were part of the old Stuart dynasty. But Charles I himself was a Protestant, but he married a French girl, and she was devout Roman Catholic. And the Puritans in England got very suspicious of him because the Puritans were strict Presbyterians, Protestants, and almost to the extent of the hardcore Calvinism that grew from the Reformation after John Knox arrived here in Scotland. John Knox was originally a Catholic. I think a lot of people don't know this, but he was originally a Catholic. He converted to Presbyterianism, but the Genevan, the Swiss Calvinist movement reached, it spread right across Europe and reached Scotland. But the Church of Scotland had a deeper history. I mean, of course, it goes right back to pre-Columbus days, in all honesty. But the simple thing was that, without getting mixed up here with everything, the Battle of Tippermuir, the battle at Tippermuir, was really a forerunner to all that was going to occur between 1644 and 1746. At Culloden, the 16th of April, 1746, when the Battle of Culloden took place up near Inverness. It's a very. I went there as a teenager with my mum was keen to go and visit, so we all scampered up there for a break. It was actually a camping holiday, and it was most enjoyable. We went to Culloden, and I have to say I collected some postcards which I still have. For 1978, and when I say collection, I collected them from the what do you call it, the visitors centre place at Culloden. But anyway, it's a spooky place, and then they started to build houses, which encroaches now on the battle site, which is a bit of a disgrace. There's plenty of room to build houses. They didn't need to put them onto the actual battlefield site. The light's not very good today, I'm afraid. It's rather foggy in Strathearn, although it has cleared a little since this morning. But it's typical November weather. The church here, the chapel, doesn't look much like, as though it's not got much character. But I can't make any assumptions on this until I go indoors, and I have to wait for the spring. God willing, I'm still here. But anyway, try and stick to the story, Eddie, will you? Because you have a habit of fucking around, and but I also have a habit of making slight mistakes when I'm giving times and dates. Now I do apologise, but I always try and correct that in my, the information when I load them onto YT. But so in essence, what I'm saying is the Earl of Tullibardine, latterly they were on the Jacobite cause. They're very strange, and this is what I'm saying about it was a difficult period because you had brother against brother and family members against family members on all sides from the religious perspective, and people were very concerned that Scotland was going to turn into a fully blown Catholic country like Spain or France, and they didn't want it. I'm not here to make any opinions whether Catholicism is the right route for faith or Presbyterianism. That's not the purpose. I'm just pointing out about the historical times. But anyway, the Marquis of Montrose, whose family had land all the way from Auchterarder all the way to Montrose on the East Coast, massive estates. Their spelling of their name was Graham, whereas his friend and compatriot for the battle, Patrick Graham, who I've mentioned at the weekend at Inchbrakie. I'm not sure which laird it was, but it was, I'm talking 1644 to period here. He was on the side of the Marquis of Montrose, so, but he had a different spelling of the Graham. He was Graeme. So there's a little clarification there for you. But we're probably standing at the wrong kirkyard, because we should really be at Tivermore where the battle is, but I wanted to just bring in Tullibardine to the story. And yeah, so the huge armies that, as I say, that marched across the whole, well, it's quite simply the whole Strathearn to the west, sorry, to the east. See what I mean, Andy? Concentrate on what you're saying. Stop making mistakes, please. Well, I've got seasonal affective disorder. I'm allowed to. Well, that's a fact. I didn't get out of the house for 4 days. Actually, 5 days. This is the 17th. This is the first day I've managed to get over the threshold. Can you believe that? But it's true. Yeah. Anyway, now you're losing the part of the story again. Yeah, so on the east of Strathearn, basically the whole Gask Ridge that we've talked about previously regarding the Romans, well, that was basically the whole length of the amassment of all these troops for this battle at Tivermore. You'll see it listed as Tipper Muir, but it's the old derivation for that area. I mean, they got places like much of the royalist troops coming down from Angus and Blairgowrie area all crossed Bertha, and there's lots of bodies were found years later in the Lambican Drive area of Bertha, Boroughmuir, and up towards Pithevis, all that. There was a huge amounts of people were killed. In fact, I sometimes wonder. I do. I sometimes wonder. This is not very exciting for you, is it? I better have a wander. I do sometimes wonder as to where the population itself must have dwindled dramatically, all these battles, because I'm not just talking a few hundred people. There was thousands of men died in conflicts across Scotland. Absolutely thousands of them. Hundreds of thousands, to be perfectly honest, in skirmishes and battles everywhere. And I'm surprised there was anyone left by the time it got to Culloden. But yeah, I was saying that Culloden's a very eerie place. It's you definitely. That's why I first found that I had a not first, Andrew, not the first time, but it was sort of confirmed to me that I had a special kind of attachment to that spiritual side, where I was able to absorb the sadness from places or the happiness from places, depending. And I remember that quite vividly, to be honest, and saying to my mum, I can really feel the sense of the people who were moaning and groaning in the battlefield. In fact, it was terrible. That Battle of Culloden was horrid. I have mentioned before that at Culloden they did. There was family members facing opposite ends of each other in the field. Different clans were facing each other. People who got on with each other were in battle with each other. There was Scots, there was English, there was Irish on both sides, and it was awful. But what was particularly cruel about it, why it went down is such a horrible event in Scottish history, is because Duke of Cumberland's men simply went out to kill everyone, and that's what they did. They went back onto the battlefield, and people who had already been slain or were injured, well, they just finished them off, and it was an absolute massacre. It really was. It was just horrid. and on the retreats in Inverness and stuff, men, women, children, regardless, were cut down. It was a really horrible time, and I think it's important people really start to, look at the roots of Scottish history and just how important it's been in the development of the nation and where we stand today. But, so anyway, I wanted to visit this place. I probably haven't told you the full story that I was intending to do, but just a sort of recap then. Those people who were loyal to Charles I were the royalists, and those who were against the ideas of Charles I and introducing the praying to the king rather than God were generally the Presbyterian Covenanters. And there was also the parliamentarians down in England, and this is why you had the English Civil War, and Cromwell rose to power. But he didn't accept the crown. He was offered to take the crown on Charles I's execution, but he refused. But he decided he would sort out things up here in Scotland. He came up and he was after Marquis of Montrose. This is about 6 or 7 years after the Battle of Tippermuir, of course. So it was well, I think if you're wandering anywhere, you really did have a 50-50 chance of surviving on every outing, unless you could convince the people that you were actually preaching from the opposite end of from what they assumed.